Hello, all guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to the newest episode of the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast. I'm Austin. I'm a knockout. Watched a lot of wrestling.
I'm David. I'm a noob. Haven't watched nearly as much wrestling. And together, Austin and I make the Four Horsemen. Don't think about it too hard.
Hey, you see, we can't make that joke anymore because they finally got a fourth horseman. That's one of the things I got to talk about today.
Wait, aren't there only three? I thought with name redacted. I thought with name redacted there were three because it's Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and then it's name redacted.
No, that's the outside. That's the NWO start. The Horseman is Flair, Anderson, name redacted, and a fourth person I'm going to mention.
Oh, okay.
Great start. Confusing the Horseman and the NWO.
Hey, I'm the noob, okay? I'm allowed to do it.
Yeah, I suppose you are, aren't you?
It's thematically relevant. I'm keeping our podcast title relevant. Fuck you.
Anyway, yes. The episode, we are back in WCW today, and what a monumental episode that we are covering, because we are covering Bash at the Beach 1996. If you know, you know. If you don't know, that is the episode where the third man of Hall, Nash, the trio, the birth of the New World Order, the NWO, is right here on this pay-per-view.
Okay, dope. I also just realized something. I know this is far from the last WCW episode we're going to watch, but I do find it funny that for as much of a meme as storylines culminating at SummerSlam is for us, this is like the WCW version of story culminating at SummerSlam.
You see, it would be, but this isn't our last episode in WCW.
Yeah, I know. Look, okay, so it's not a perfect match. But this is the most remarkable. If I had to guess, is like the most single remarkable like episode of this arc that we're gonna do. So I'm still counting.
It definitely is. There's some other developments I want to show off before we move on to non-WCW things.
Well,
that's why we're not ending here. But yes, this is the peak. Right here.
Yeah, so I'm willing to call this a call. Like I wouldn't call our last episode. I wouldn't call the last episode of Summer of Punk a culmination when fucking Diesel shows up for no reason. Speaking of Kevin Nash, I would not call that the culmination. I would call the Chicago match the culmination.
That's fair. So WCW. Last time we were here, Kevin Nash debuted, and suddenly the Scott Hall is not alone in invading WCW. So this is a pay-per-view, and so how I will describe the stuff that came before, how it's kind of fill you in on the last 3 weeks of TV plus the last pay-per-view, the Great American Bash, is based on what pay-per-view matches we're going to watch tonight. And so for people new to our podcast, for this kind of thing, is we don't watch pay-per-views in full because we don't really have time to do that. So,
they are long, boys, and it's 7:30 at night. We need some mercy, please.
Yes, we are taping live at the Twitch right now, starting at 7:30 at night. So we're not going to watch the full 3-hour review. We are going to watch most of it. We are doing a cut, and so we are cutting out a few matches. Name redacted makes this easier, I'm going to admit. So let's go ahead and break down the matches of the show, starting with the main event and going backwards so we can talk about the important stuff first. So the main event match is a 6-man tag match between the Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, versus Randy Savage, Sting, and Lex Luger. And Nash and Hall swear that their third man is coming in this match. So if you've been following us, you know that Hall and Nash showed up ostensibly as WWF wrestlers invading WCW. Yep. They're having a whole legal battle about that right about here.
Behind the scenes.
Yes.
The whole thing is wild so far because this is such a ballsy move on WCW's part, and they in a way just did not get away with it, but they're still trucking along like nothing's happening, and it's kind of glorious.
Yeah, so as a quick update on what's going on in the legal battle, my last kind of update on that is now we are in court, and WWF presented a potential settlement idea of what they will drop the suit if WCW says a few things on air to clear things up. And WCW said no to it because they were kind of absurd. I forgot to look to get the exact wording to read out of what they said, but here is the breakdown. Is essentially they were asking WCW to, during their broadcast, make clear that Kevin Nash and Scott Hall do not work for the WWF. They are not WWF wrestlers. And if you wish to watch see WWF wrestlers, you may see them Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on USA Network on Monday Night Raw. I'm not kidding. That was part of their agreement to settle. Is if on Nitro they make Tony Schiavone and Eric Bischoff do a ad read for Raw.
Vince, you cheeky bastard.
Obviously, WCW said no to this.
Yeah.
And so, moving on. So, we're just going to fight in court for a few years about this.
I'm not remotely surprised that, like, both companies did what they did there, but it's so goddamn funny.
Yeah. So, instead, how this is played out on WCW TV at the Great American Bash, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash did an interview with Eric Bischoff, and he asked them up front, do you work for the WWF? He said that on air, and they both were like, no. So we're going to stop pretending like they work for the WWE. They don't. This was WCW's way to deal with the lawsuit situation. Is they're like, we're gonna stop trying to pretend like they don't work here. That's not true. That's not true. They still act like they don't work there. They just don't act like they work for the competition. They treat them as if they're outsiders. They coined that term in this series of episodes. They coined the term the outsiders to refer to Hall and Nash, and that name kind of sticks with them their whole career as a tag team.
That does kind of take some of the bite out of it, but also their hand was kind of forced.
Yeah, this turned into a legal thing real quick, so they can't. I get where they decided to take that ambiguity out of it.
Yeah. I wish they could have done it where he asks if they work for WWF and they're like, nah, we don't work for WWF. We're doing this just trying to make it sound as sus as possible.
Yeah, but now they play it off as no, they don't. And also at the Bash is when Bischoff reveals this 6-man main event will happen at Bash at the Beach, and Hall and Nash are like, well, who's our 3 guys we're going to fight? And Bischoff tries to be like, you'll find out tomorrow night on Nitro. And they're like, not good enough. So Kevin Nash picks up Eric Bischoff and power bombs him through the stage.
Through, breaks the stage through?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, Eric Bischoff has taken off TV for 2 weeks, and that kind of sets the tone here of everyone in WCW kind of heel or face rallies against the Hall and Nash.
Wow.
They all take offense to him attacking Bischoff, and they're all like, we don't want these interlopers in this company. We want them gone.
Damn, that's the thing that unites everybody is what a jackass Kevin Nash is.
Yeah. And so on Nitro, they do a lottery of the top 6 wrestlers in WCW. It is a lottery between Savage, Sting, Luger, The Giant, Hulk Hogan, and Ric Flair. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, Savage, Sting, and Luger won the lottery. So they are going to be facing Hall, Nash, and the third person that they have not mentioned yet. And it's been a topic of conversation for a few weeks. Who's the third man?
Ooh, it's such a mystery.
It is. So that's our main event. Then the secondary The semi-main that we are not going to watch is the Giant versus the Taskmaster. Excuse me, the Giant and the Taskmaster versus Arn Anderson and name redacted. I'll just say Chris Benoit to make sure that people know who I'm talking about there. But so we're not going to watch that because of Mr. Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
And kind of for the story on that one is kind of interesting is at the Great American Bash, basically talk a lot about it beforehand because we're trying to avoid this story, but from the Taskmasters, basically like the Taskmaster and the Dungeon of Doom were teaming up with the Horsemen to fight Hulk Hogan, a common enemy situation. So Taskmaster doesn't like Benoit, took his wife, I get it, but he still considers the Horsemen like allies at least, if not for people he can trust. At the Great American Bash, Sullivan, the Taskmaster, and Benoit have a match, and Arn Anderson is like, yeah, fuck you. Yeah, I don't consider you an ally. Horseman only, pal.
Wow. Okay.
So now the Taskmaster and the Dungeon of Doom are like at war with the Horsemen because Taskmaster feels betrayed. And so that is the tag match we have on the show.
Deeply, deeply convoluted and silly, and I love it.
Yeah. These all kind of go in a good order. The next match is a match we're going to skip. I thought a lot about this, and I almost wanted to include it, but I do try to pick our pay-per-view matches based on like importance in terms of like their story relevance, and I can't justify this in that way. Ric Flair versus Conan for the U.S. title. And the reason I can't justify that, even though it's probably a great match, it is the second longest match on the show. The reason I can't justify it is because it basically has no story. Ric Flair is continuing to antagonize Randy Savage, but Savage is busy doing the fighting the outsiders. So he's just kind of doing it to win the title. He literally didn't talk about Conan until the last 5 minutes of the most recent episode of Nitro I watched.
That's kind of a weirdly shoehorned in thing for Bash at the Beach.
Yeah, it seems like it should be a bigger match that they promote, but they don't. They're just like, oh, it's happening. They just announce it right at the end of Nitro the week before the show. They're like, oh yeah, U.S. title match. And Flair's like, I'm getting the gold. Woo!
Sure, Rick. Go have fun.
So, like, I almost included that because it's probably going to be a pretty good match, but
Conan.
Yeah, but there's no story, and so that's why I made the ultimate decision to not include it.
Damn it. Oh, well, whatever.
Here's a match we will watch, probably to our detriment. No. Mongo McMichael, Steve McMichael versus Joe Gomez. So, as I said earlier, the Horsemen got a fourth member. At the Great American Bash, they had their big tag match. They had Flair and Anderson versus Steve Michael and Kevin Green, the football players tag match. And Steve McMichael turned on Kevin Green and joined the Horsemen.
Sure.
They had Deborah McMichael come out with a big briefcase of money that was given to her by Horsemen. And she convinced her husband to sell out. And so he's in the Horsemen now. And
wait,
so is Deborah.
This was the chick that was cutting a promo at the beginning last time we were watching, right?
Yes. That is the wife that Ric Flair was trying to have sex with. And now she's part of the group with Mongo.
Sure. I'm still not like familiar enough with any of this to like have that really have an impact on me, but I can broadly appreciate there's some fuckery going on here.
Yep. The power of money is all. And so now Mongo McMichael is running around. He uses the briefcase as a weapon to hit people with. It's great.
This just sounds like variations on the theme of Ted DiBiase.
Well, Savage's money goes so far. They are still being
oh my
funded
god,
by
it's such
money.
They're just driving that meme so hard into the ground.
I do not know how much money Randy Savage could have possibly had in the alimony.
Yeah.
To pay Miss Elizabeth for that. How much money?
Especially to not be like freaking destitute himself. Like, yeah, like Jesus, is Savage a billionaire?
I guess. Maybe
he's a trillionaire. Jesus.
He paid off Mongo, and he's having the match with Joe Gomez because remember last time we watched those two schmucks that were gonna debut, and then the Horsemen beat him up.
Yes.
In the backstage, one of them was Desperado Joe Gomez, and so Gomez wants his revenge on the Horsemen, and so he gets to fight the fourth most important one.
Amazing! I'm so happy for him. I love this for you, King.
I'm sure he'll do great.
Yeah, he's gonna be totally fine. Everything's gonna go great. He's not gonna totally get humiliated and screwed on stage. No way.
Nope. Then we have Dean Malenko versus Disco Inferno for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Disco Fever. So,
see, my mind just straight up went to Disco Inferno. So I'm just got burn, baby, burn.
I mean, that's basically what the gimmick is, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. It's a good song. I appreciate it. You know.
So basically, Disco is going around saying that he is the kind of star that this division needs, not like boring old Dean Malenko. And he's hanging on to this gold record that he supposedly has now. And he's saying that 1 million people have bought this record, which is inaccurate because that's not a gold record. That is a platinum is 1 million. Gold is 500,000. So wrong.
Beautiful.
But he is interrupting Dean Malenko's matches to dance like he is in Disco Inferno. He is in Saturday Night Fever. So nice. It's like, okay, I guess we're gonna wrestle for the cruiserweight title. Sure.
Yeah. Might as well.
All right, then we have the match we're definitely not watching. The Nasty Boys versus the Public Enemy in a dog collar match.
Nope.
Fuck them. They've not even really been on TV, so I have a double reason to not watch this stupid garbage.
Okay, that makes me very happy. Fuck the Nasty Boys.
All right, the last 3 matches on the show we are going to watch, so let's roll through them. You got DDP versus Jim Duggan. Excellent. So let's cover. First, this story was put in a weird way. So first of all, they announce the match, and then they do the storyline stuff that would theoretically justify the match. But let me run you through this plot line, and then tell me who you think is supposed to be the babyface here.
Okay.
So, Diamond Dallas Page has the Battle Bowl ring, the Lord of the Rings stuff that I've brought up before. The most recent last episode of Nitro, he loses the ring, and he's all like, "Where's my ring? So I'm gonna tear this place upside down, find him a ring." And then we get an interview backstage with old Jim Duggan. And Jim Duggan is like, I was going on the toilet, relieving myself, and then I found in the bathroom this here ring. He has the Battle Bowl ring. And so he's just like, he's talking about it, and he's ranting about how it's a very feminine ring because of its size. This is the second effeminate kind of dig we've gotten on these on this, because I didn't mention it, but the Sting and Lord Steven Regal match from the Great American Bash, Sting cut this promo about like, ooh, it's weird how they drink their tea over there in England, isn't it? Like, very get it? And then he literally ends the promo with like, if anyone can straighten him out, it's me, the Stinger.
Cool.
90s. It's great. So back to Jim Duggan. So he's just ranting and raving about this, how this ring is too small for a real man like him. And then DDP comes in and is like, hey man, give me my ring back. And Duggan's like, okay, if you want your dumb ring back, here you go. So he throws the ring on the ground. And while DDP is bent over to pick it up and put it back on, Jim Duggan pulls the tape out of his tights, wraps his fist up, and then clocks DDP in the face while he's bent over picking up the ring. Again, tell me, who is the babyface on this?
Probably Sting, because he's not gay.
You mean Duggan?
Oh, Duggan, Jesus. Duggan. Yeah, Duggan, because he's not gay.
That is supposed to be the babyface, yes, even though DDP has done nothing wrong, and instead you have the asshole taking his property and sucker punching him.
Hey, he made the mistake of being born with feminine hands.
I guess.
That's plenty evil for me. I don't know what more you want.
I guess. So they're having the match, and it's not just a normal match. It's a taped fists match.
Hey!
This seems real fair. Duggan went to management and was like, can this be a taped fist match where it's legal to tape my fists up?
It's thematic.
It's bullshit. Anyway, next match, John Tenta versus Big Bubba. This feud has kind of gone insane in that they had a match at the Great American Bash and Tenta won. And then they had a rematch on Nitro. And this one ends when Big Bubba wins by hitting John Tenta in the face with a sock full of silver dollars.
A sock full of silver dollars.
Yep. And then Tenta has a match with the Giant where the Dungeon comes and shaves half his beard too. So now he's got half a head of hair and half a beard.
Fair.
So yeah, now they're gonna have a match in a Carson City silver dollar match. What does that mean? I don't know.
Well, it's again thematically relevant.
Mm-hmm. It's something, I'll tell you that.
I will say, with this whole like half hair, half beard thing, does it stay like perfectly half and half the whole time?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty half, and it's pretty cleanly cut. I don't know when he does shave it off, but
so if I'm thinking about this, is he between episodes then continuing to shave the half of him that is shaved to keep that like Two-Face look going cleanly?
Yes, but don't think about that. You're not supposed to think about that.
Oh no, Austin! Oh no! Yeah. I just realized that because we're talking about this. I'm like, wait a minute. This is like a running thing over several weeks. Why doesn't he just like let his hair grow back?
Because revenge, David.
Revenge. You can get your revenge without looking like Two-Face.
Nope, he understands the thematic importance of keeping
Oh my god.
I'm gonna need you to stop poking logic holes in here.
I like logic. Okay, whatever.
Anyway, the first match of the show, and so thus the last match I'm going to mention, is Rey Mysterio versus Psychosis.
Daddy!
Yes, this match has no real story either, but it's Rey Mysterio, so I was like, we're doing this one.
You are the best and my favorite, and you are forgiven for every sin of everything you have like made me suffer through.
Nice. Anyway, so this is just a good old-fashioned luchadors doing lucha match. Rey Mysterio debuted in the company. He had a match with Dean Malenko at the Great American Bash for the Cruiserweight title that Malenko won, but Malenko had to cheat to do it. So they're really portraying Mysterio as kind of like the guy who has Malenko figured out.
Nice.
Like the man of 1,000 holds is kicking everybody's ass, and he can beat Mysterio too, but Mysterio knows how to beat him. He just needs a fair shot at it.
I love it.
So this is just kind of like a match to get Mysterio out there and to keep bringing in more of this international talent for the Cruiserweight division. And And so Mysterio and Psychosis is going to blow your mind. I feel very confident in that prediction.
I am very happy. Love me some Rey. My only regret is that his new theme song from the early 2000s till now won't be playing when he comes out. I love that theme song.
Very, very sad. So that is our setup for Bash at the Beach 1996. If you would like to watch the show, is while we are watching it. Unfortunately, I don't have my timestamps with me. I plotted this all out, and I forgot my notebook. I am not in my apartment in Columbus. If you regularly watch us on the video feed, you can see that. But if you're audio only, I'm not in my regular recording place, so I forgot my notebook. But it's pretty easy to scroll through on peacock.tv.com. That is where we're watching Bash at the Beach. That it is $5.90. It was $4.99 a month with ads, $9.99 a month without. You get all of WWE's old network stuff. If you're outside of the U.S., you can still use the WWE network. Normally this is where we also say, like, hey, if you go on YouTube, you can watch at least the important stuff. But here's the thing. What the third man stuff is probably what you want to watch if you watch anything from this. Mm-hmm. But the twist is so well known. I don't know if you can go on YouTube to watch the match without also getting the spoiler that you wanted, the big mystery. If you don't already know what that mystery is, I don't know if you can go on YouTube and not get spoiled by it just trying to look up the match.
Yeah, well, you got to know at some point, right?
Yeah. So, with that in mind, we will be back here, let's say about 10 p.m. Eastern on the Twitch to record our back half.
Indeed.
Yep. See you guys then.
See you then.
And we are back. We have just finished Bash at the Beach 1996. And I got to tell you, for 40 episodes, we've been here, brother. We did it for the charities. We did it for the kids. And now, brother, I'm going to say that all you people can stick it, brother.
Oh man, it's real interesting. I mean, dear Lord. So yeah, the thing we've been so cheekily non-referring to this whole time is plot twist. Hulk Hogan is the third man. What?
The third man in this new world organization, brother.
Yeah, organization.
He said it right the first time, and then
he just got weird with it. New World Organization doesn't quite have the same bite to it.
Mm-hmm. So yes, that is the twist. Is that Hulk Hogan turning heel for the first time since like 1984?
You know what? Hulk Hogan's been heel in spirit far long before then. That egomaniacal prick creating Batman villains out of like every person who has the like misfortune of coming across his bullshit. It was only a matter of time.
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of people have, like, especially if you talk about the narrative of the NWO in more recent times, an acknowledgement that like Hulk Hogan was stale as shit to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And he has never been someone that WCW's audience took to in the same way. Like I've talked before about this regional divide of the audiences between that company up north, brother, the WWF and WCW. They were different audiences, and the Southern wrestling audiences had no time for Hulk Hogan's cartoony clown show bullshit. And so Hogan brought fans in and they liked him, but the WCW faithful did not, by and large. And so 2 years deep, like everyone was already kind of ready to start throwing trash at Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. For much different reasons though. So yeah, they're teasing throughout this whole, I mean, obviously this is the through line of the whole episode as we start off with this big video package recapping everything up to this point. Scott Hall showing up, clowning on Eric Bischoff. Sting showing up to be like, hey, fuck you, leave my company dad alone. And then Kevin Nash showing up and also clowning on Eric Bischoff, and then Eric Bischoff trying to stand up to them and just being yeeted.
And then they were a nuisance for a few episodes of Nitro.
Yeah, they just after that they just show him showing up randomly and doing like macking on the crowd and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's a choice. But yeah, they play into just what a thing that is. That they've just been here and being dicks, and oh no, what are we gonna do about it? And of course they've got the big tag team match. But nobody knows who their third man is in the entire. If this had been made in the 2010s, it would have been a hashtag who is the third man. Like that's how hard they play it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hashtag who is the third man. Hashtag third man. Like
something to that effect. And they also cut a promo with Sting, Luger, and Macho Man Randy Savage, who are all wearing solidarity face paint, as Austin put it, which I think is great. I think they all look good in that makeup.
Yeah, Savage does his Savage thing where he barely looks at the camera. Into the camera.
Why does he turn his back on the camera all the damn time? It's so distracting.
But they all kind of say what you'd expect them to say. Savage sounds like a crazy person. Luger is like, we're gonna fight we're gonna fight back against these interlopers. And Sting does a whole speech about like nerves and him getting nervous and shit, and but he's gonna fight and they're gonna win and all that.
Dude, Sting is like just always so badass. I don't know how to describe it.
The Stinger is great.
True.
And so we also then get a couple of segments throughout the show of Mean Gene Okerlund trying to give updates.
Oh my god, Gene is so pissed off.
Oh yeah, it's the first time through we get him just kind of being outside the locker room. He shows off his armed security guards. They're there.
He's like, I have a team of lawyers who are at the ready if these gentlemen attempt to lay a finger on me.
Oh yeah, he's not putting up with this tonight. And then later we get a bit where he's in front of the locker room and he's like, I was eavesdropping on them. And he hears the third person's voice, but it's muffled and he can't quite place it. But he knows he's heard this voice before. He knows in some part of him recognizes this voice.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yes, he does.
They're really playing this up. Like he's just like, it's tickling the back of my subconscious, but I just can't quite seem to place it.
And then we get to the main event. The main event match that is ostensibly 3v3, but it becomes 2v2.
Yeah.
So first we get Michael Buffer comes out to do the intro. He's a big time boxing legend as an announcer, and he's the guy who does "Let's get ready to rumble."
It's so cool, like hearing that from an actual like person.
Gotta immediately go pay like $5 to Michael Buffer for that.
Yeah,
because he has that trademarked. And WCW paid him a lot of money to do these spots. Like pretty much any of their big match show, any of their big matches had Buffer.
Ooh,
that was
that's
like
so cool.
That was a symbol of like this match is important because Buffer's doing the announcing.
Buffer's here. Did WWF ever get their hands on him?
No, they didn't want to pay that money.
Wow. Okay.
They didn't want to pay the money it would cost to bring him in.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. But so he announces them, and then the outsiders come out without a third man, and Okerlund tries to ask them about it, and they're like, "Whatever, he's a third man's in the building. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't think about it too hard."
And then here comes Savage, Luger, and Sting. And I pointed this out to David, is that I've talked, I think I've mentioned it at least once on this show, but I don't know, is that the backup plan is that Hulk Hogan, for some context, is Hulk Hogan was always kind of the top choice. Once they had an idea of who they wanted to be the third man, it was always Hogan. But the thing, Hogan had creative control, which basically means anything that he got booked to do, he had to personally approve of.
Yep.
They couldn't force him to do this, to turn heel like this. And Hogan was very unsure about it because in 1996, like, heels didn't make the big bucks in the same way that baby faces did. They didn't get the same promotional money or merch dollars. And Hogan in his contract got a cut of WCW's money whenever he was personally on a show. So in his mind, if this doesn't go right, like, that's a lot of lost revenue for him. And there's a story of like Hogan's manager, like real manager, like a financial manager person, like begging WCW over the phone to not turn him heel.
Really?
Like, Hogan's people were absolutely against this for the same reason. They were huge against it. But eventually they were able to sell Hogan on this. And Hogan, to his credit, has always been quite good at latching on to really pop, being able to read the tea leaves and know that this is a big thing and that it's worth him getting involved in. So they eventually got him on it. But he also, of course, had every right to turn them down after he said so. So they had a backup plan in place. And the backup plan was Sting. If Hogan backed out, or as I mentioned to David, actually at this point in time, he was filming Santa with Muscles.
So great.
If like there had been travel issues and he couldn't make it in time, also for the same reason, they pivot to Sting as the backup because there had to be a third man tonight. They couldn't not do that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty bad.
And we have our thoughts on the Sting what if it was Sting, but I would say it would have been funny because there's a lot of conversation in the match about like, well, the third man's not here. He's not in the ring. He's not, we don't know where he is. It'd be fun. If it had been Sting, that'd be funny, ironic.
Yeah.
Be like, we don't know where he is. It's like, he's right there.
He's right there. We're Dora the Explorer and he's right there.
Yeah. But overall, Sting as the twist, I think, would have been a big disappointment in comparison.
It would have been fine, but it wouldn't have been the earth-shattering thing that Hogan was, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get Hogan, and I mean, it's exactly like how Austin, you described it way back when we first started, I think, Attitude Era, of they go through the match a little bit. Luger gets knocked out fucking immediately.
Yeah, so I think they did that because they realized that like traditional like psychology doesn't work if there are more baby faces than heels.
Yeah.
Like the idea is always to garner sympathy for the baby faces who are being beaten down, and that doesn't really work when there are more of them. So they like create a contrived reason for Luger to like be taken out on a gurney. So it's 2v2.
Yeah. Which it's gratifying to me because fuck Lex Luger. Not super into him, so I was like, yeah, cool, get out of here. But he gets knocked out, just like knocked out cold, and the EMTs just fling themselves out there, and get him on a gurney, and it's bye Lex Luger.
So the whole match is Sting and Savage against Nash and Hall.
Yep.
And the match is good. It's not anything spectacular, but then again, even if it was like the greatest thing ever, I think the twist later overshadows it anyway. Oh
yeah, no. It's a pretty decent match. Just kind of on its own, and it's boosted by the fact that it is like this storyline, and they've been, playing it up so hard, and it's finally coming to a head.
Yeah, Sting and Savage are played off as like they've never been more pissed off and motivated to kick ass.
It is, and it does make for some great work. I really enjoyed what they were doing, in that in that fight of just. It's cool to see Sting go sicko mode. It's really nice to see Savage, just do his normal thing, go in sicko mode. I'm just so obsessed with how good Randy Savage looked in that face paint too. I know it's not like really the point, but I just can't get over how good that face paint looked.
He had purple and yellow to match his
gear,
and he looked great.
It was awesome. I want more of that. But yeah, so Sting especially is going sicko mode. Savage is about like, I don't want to say par for the course because that makes it sound like mediocre, but like Savage was about like he's at his normal level pretty much. He's maybe a little. He's
already pretty intense.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like that's the best way to describe it is like he does normal level, but his normal level's like an 11. So yeah. But Sting's going sicko mode, and that's what's really good to watch. But they're going at it, and eventually all four of them end up on the ground. And the audience, you just see them standing up, and of course, who walks out?
They see the audience sees Hogan come walking down. They don't play his music. They don't do that. You don't hear the he's government inspector. He's U.S. grade.
It's a very interesting parallel to the origin of the superpowers of Hogan comes out unannounced. The crowd is losing its shit at his at his arrival, because for as much as they struggled like getting fan support for Hogan per what you described, I imagine like in the midst of all of this, just like with the tension they've built for what's going on, and with Hogan still being a pretty big name, even if he's not like as over with the crowd as he like was back in WWF in his heyday, just under the circumstance of what's going on, I think everything was heightened enough. The audience was still like, "Holy shit, it's Hogan!"
Because Hogan's also been gone for a couple of months now.
Yeah, he has.
This was his big return.
So even then, he gets a lot more over with the audience than he, I guess, would normally. But it's really cool. They stand up. He shows up. He jumps in the ring, kind of like walks around a bit, and of course, Hall and Nash are, as we know, feigning shock, but they do a good little like, shit, Hogan's here.
They do great to play off of like, oh fuck, oh no.
Yeah. Yep, and then Hogan goes over and drop kicks Randy Savage.
He does the leg drop to Savage.
He does the leg drop, yep.
He does it again. He throws the ref out of the ring. He does it a third time, and then they do a pin and Scott Hall counts the pin. And the match just kind of ends there.
The announcer's something fierce, which is great.
Oh yeah, they're like, we're not counting this. But announcers, I want to talk about them for
me too.
Moment. They do a fantastic job, and there's so many iconic quotes from this segment.
Oh my god, yeah.
You look at when Hogan comes out, Dusty Rhodes going, Hulk Hogan is in the building, and Sally goes, "You're damn right he is." And then the line that lives in infamy. Bobby Heenan going, "Yeah, but whose side is he on?"
Yup.
And
which was great.
People like to act like Heenan spoiled the twist, and I'm gonna say he didn't. And the reason for that is, number one, WCW didn't inform the announcers what was gonna happen. So
really? They weren't in on it?
Yeah, there are differing philosophies on how much the announcers should know what's going on. In some companies and in some eras, they know everything. Sometimes they're like, give us your natural reaction. We're not going to tell you anything about what happens. But for here, the announcers did not know that Hogan was the twist, was the third man. So, and the thing is that that is completely in character for Heenan to say. Bobby Heenan's most consistent character trait is that he hates Hulk Hogan with a burning passion. He always assumes the worst. Hulk Hogan could save a kitten from a tree, and Bobby Heenan would figure out how that actually makes Hogan a self-serving dickhead.
Well, I remember that from when we watched the Hogan Andre thing, which makes it really, which was really funny because Heenan was kind of right in that case.
He was in that case correct as well.
Yeah. So in some ways, Heenan's hatred of Hogan is kind of justified.
Yeah, you could absolutely look at Hogan's in-character career, and it suggests that at least Bobby Heenan has good points. Yeah. So, he was not saying that out of some sense of I'm going to spoil the whole thing. It was more out of he was doing what would be in character for him to suggest, which is that Hulk Hogan is a turncoat traitor. It just so happens that this time he's correct.
But like, also, I feel like you see Hogan walk out, and there's got to be some inkling, right, that he's the third guy. Like, why the hell else would he be there?
It does. Yeah, I agree with that. Is that it would feel if he wasn't the third guy, it would be weird that he was there. Not necessarily unexpected because it's Hogan, but definitely weird.
Well, because I feel like the reaction, and maybe this is me like speculating too hard about like emotions of people from the 80s, but like I feel like what they must have been going for was like this sense of Hogan walks out and there's something in the back of your brain that knows like what this means. But you also know Hogan is like the eternal babyface superhero who would never, and you're just like watching him hoping, praying that he doesn't do the thing. And then he kind of like wafts around Savage a little bit and you're like, oh come on. And then does the leg drop, and it's like the dread gets fulfilled in a way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it does completely play on audience expectations of what's going to happen here. Like it's set up like the classic Hulk Hogan saves the day moment.
Well, again, it's like the formation of the superpowers. It's like, Miss Elizabeth runs back and grabs Hulk, and he comes out unannounced, no music, and he sees what's going on. And he's like, "Oh hell no, brother! We gotta right this wrong." And so this almost acts as a parallel, to moments like that, where we have Hulk Hogan making this big cinematic, dramatic entrance, and he's here to arch good guy the faces back to victory, but here he just flips on a dime, and nope, he's with them this time.
Nope, he's the bad guy.
Which how many times had moments like that happened outside of the like superpowers thing?
I'm afraid I don't know enough to know that. It's not he's never had one more iconic than this Mega Powers. No, but like,
Mega Powers, Jesus.
Him being like the savior is at least common enough.
So so it is a bit of a trope. So they did a brilliant thing of playing off that trope really well. And I can only imagine how this legitimately affected people watching this, which is again is wild for how much Hogan was not like kind of over with WCW audiences in the same vein. But he turns and they pin Savage, and real quickly trash starts getting thrown in the ring and people are pissed and everyone's up on their feet and they're screaming.
Yeah, this is in WWF. I'm pretty sure if they did this, it would cause a riot. But in WCW, they just decide to throw trash.
Yep.
They pelt the ring. You can multiple times through this whole promo that he gives after this that I was referencing at the beginning, where like you can see him and Mean Gene get splattered with soda as people throw their cups on them.
Yeah.
One of them, as Gene is getting into the ring, you see a flying soda cup come inches from Hogan's head.
Yep, I caught that. It was so good. What was Mean Gene gets in the ring, and it's also really funny. I freaking love how tiny Gene is next to these three dudes. He's so small, and they look so big, and it makes them look like freaking giants. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it works really well.
But yeah, Gene's being all indignant, and he's basically like, Hulk Hogan, what have you got to say for yourself? And Hogan grabs the mic and hops on what basically reveals itself to be a "you people" speech.
It is a little bit of a "you people" speech.
He literally says "you people" at one point. It is a "you people" speech. Just about like how he was dissatisfied and he was bored and he made bazillions for people in that company up north, and he got bored of all the good shit that he was handed by billionaire Ted in WCW, and he saw these two guys invigorated with a fighting spirit, and he's like, hell yeah, brother, that's what's for me now. I'm through selling out for all these people. I want to be a face of legitimate excitement in wrestling again.
Yeah, it is a little "you people-y," but it also to me read like this, like just like Hogan's ego and arrogance coming in full display. The kind of thing that Bobby Heenan has just been yelling about for a decade.
Yeah.
being a thing, and everyone ignored him. The great prophet, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
The Oracle of Delphi, Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, like he is. Hogan acts every bit like the arrogant, self-centered asshole that Bobby Heenan has said he has been for
As
a decade.
the kids these days say, mask off.
Yeah, he goes full mask off and is like, if it wasn't for me, none of you people would be here. People made millions off of me. And you know what? And I'm tired of not being treated like how I think I should be treated. I'm going to destroy this company because I can. Brother.
I'm kind of here for that though, of him just saying fuck it. I don't care anymore. And it is kind of great. It's vindicating in a way for every sense you had that, maybe Hogan is an asshole. Like, it's kind of cool that they decided to lean into it and actually play that up. It feels very self-aware and a great dissection of the Hogan character.
They knew what people think about Hulk Hogan as a character.
Yeah, pretty much. What was interesting for me too, watching him on the mic, was there was this energy about Hogan. There's this one moment where because the entire time he's basically grabbed Gene Okerlund by the arm and just keeps lifting it back up to keep talking. And at one point he flashes this smile that's a little bit of nervous energy. I think I'm having fun with this, but maybe I'm wrong, but I got the sense after talking with you about his hesitancy to do this, it seemed like a bit of discomfort in Hogan's line delivery. It felt a little bit like he had this slightly nervous energy the whole time of this is so outside my wheelhouse. I don't know if I can make this work. I'm kind of scared about how this is going to go over.
I do get that sense. Is that this is well outside of Hogan's. This isn't Hogan knows how to do the let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Yeah.
Bits, and now he's basically it's very clearly Hogan, and especially as I will say is that as he leans into the heel persona, he also gets back to also being the hot dog and dipshit that he always is.
Yeah.
But
I think he kind of has to realize oh yeah, this is actually really easy to reconcile these two personas.
Yeah, he's wait a minute.
Wait.
It's super easy to just be the same Hulk Hogan, but just kind of be a little more of an asshole.
Yeah, because I mean that's what this feels like. Is on this promo, it's a great promo. It's a really affecting promo.
It is,
but I can't help get this sense of slight discomfort from him. Of
it feels he's trying to do different than he.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, I thought I was crazy here. I'm this feels different from his usual delivery, and I thought I was going nuts. But yeah, he almost feels uncomfortable on the mic a little bit doing this. But it's almost endearing in a sense of of knowing kind of what he was going through mentally with committing to this storyline. It is a little bit man, he clearly, even in this moment, in his big moment, didn't know how to take this. For God's sake, he was having trash pelted at him. For a man who's used to being the top hero of everything, that's got to be a little disconcerting. But he pushes through and he gives it his all. And he's as you said, he's going to kind of find his niche. But just this first one, you can tell it's so I can imagine it was almost scary for him in a way, and that makes it kind of a cool moment in a meta sense too, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's very different and new for Hulk Hogan, and he does knock it out of the park though, and he has a lot of top notch lines. He names the New World Order specifically, and then fucks it up for 2 minutes.
And then fucks it up as the New World Organization.
Yes,
twice.
Yeah.
But I will say when he declared New World Order, that felt earth-shattering.
This is the New World Order of Wrestling, brother.
Yup.
He made sure to continue using brother.
He sprinkles it with plenty of brother. But yeah, the declaration of the New World Order, because it's funny, I've always heard the New World Order, and I've I get it, but it's a little hokey, right? It's like any tag team name. It's we're talking a big game, and you know, we're just any other like tag team or group or whatever, but you know, we'll add a cool name on it to make it sound epic and extreme. But here it felt genuine. It's like in the moment, him declaring New World Order, it did kind of feel like that because the way they ran this storyline is such a unique angle. I almost see like, and I can't remember if I made this observation before. I very well may have. Yeah, I think I have. This feels like the spiritual ancestors of the pipe bomb promo. In kind of how it presents, like we have thoughts about how things are run around here, and we are going to forcefully make our own thing of it, except instead of it, you know, being done in a CM Punk way where it's like, I'm going to use my words to tear this place down. It's, we are going to just eviscerate physically this entire organization, and that makes New World Order, when it's declared, actually sound kind of threatening and really like, oh my god, this is like their attempt at a new world order. That's really dope.
Both promos are an attempt at a destruction of the status quo.
Exactly.
And CM Punk is eventually portrayed as kind of like the underdog hero of the masses and the underrepresented, whereas this is portrayed as like the evil monster destroying all that is good and right with the world.
Yup. It does get played off in it, but they feel reminiscent of each other, just kind of for what they are. And yeah, Hogan's presentation really makes it work. And Scott and Kevin too, just celebrating like the absolute animals. They're relishing in it, which I think helps Hogan out too. Like if it were just Hogan on that mic, that nervous energy would have, like, I think almost distracted me. But like having Scott Hall and Kevin Nash dancing around him too, because they're used to being like heels and they're used to playing up the shithead persona, and they've been in this for a couple months now. They're playing really good backup dancers for him in a way. They really help boost the mood.
They are. They're going all in. They're doing all the poses, Hogan's and their own.
Yeah, that's the thing. They work the crowd really well here. They're basically like turning to the crowd and saying, yes, we feed off your spite. Give it to us. No.
Yeah. Hey, you in the front row. Fuck you. Hey, you in the front row. Fuck you.
There's a guy in ECW shirt that I'm pretty sure was flipping Hogan the double bird, and it was cracking me up.
That's it was pretty wild. The crowd doesn't, and I know it's like the crowd when Hogan drops the leg doesn't immediately get mad, almost as if they're in some degree of shock. But like as it settles in, what's going on here? They're pissed.
Yeah.
They have
it.
nothing to do with. They want nothing to do with this.
Oh my god, they lose it, dude. It's so funny. Because like so far removed from it and knowing the twist way ahead of time, you know, we're not affected by this, especially because hindsight's 2020, and we see Hulk Hogan as kind of a complete shithead from start to finish. A popular shithead, and one that had a lot of merits to his career, but dear Lord, what a piece of shit. So this doesn't quite affect us in the same way, but I can appreciate what it did for audiences at the time, knowing, like, you know, who Hulk Hogan was to people back in like late 80s, early 90s.
I can respect the fact that this was like people watching their childhood hero be revealed as a villain. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, it'd be like if any of my faves came out and did something like this, I would be fucking angry. If they had Rey Mysterio come out and pull some shit like this with some like evil heel group, I'd like eat my hat and then like projectile vomit the remnants into the ring.
Yeah.
Like I totally get it. But the best part is, going back to the announcers for a second, is they do a great job once Hulk finally gets off the mic and they're all celebrating. They all play up this great shock and like deep anger, and they're like, I don't even know what to say. Hulk Hogan can go to hell.
Tony Schiavone's like, you can go to hell, straight to hell. Like they don't know what to do. They're like, this is the end of the show, so we have to sign off. But also, we can't even process what we've just seen right now, and you're expecting us to like do that, sign off while also processing what we've just seen.
I have to wonder how much of that was genuine from them. Like if they got swept up in the moment that much too, or if there's like the consummate professionals of the industry, they kind of got like, oh shit, okay, this is what's going on. We're gonna play along now.
Yeah, I'd be curious about that too. How like. What they were feeling in that moment of like calling that action, of calling that.
It has to be at least a little bit played up. Like, like they're consummate professionals. They know how this stuff tends to run. They don't have an investment in it like the fans do. But they play like they do, and they play really well like they do.
Oh yeah. The announcers do a fantastic job overall on this whole segment. Like really, and I think they really help tie it all together.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And another iconic line I forgot is that like besides Heenan's like whose side is he on is also when when Hogan drops the leg when he yells Hulk Hogan has betrayed WCW.
Yeah,
that line gets used a lot. In
I mean that's what it must have felt like to a lot of these people. It's a massive betrayal of everything they've seen about this man up to this point.
Yep.
God.
So, but yes, that is the big thing from Bash at the Beat. So, what were your thoughts overall on of old Bashy Bash? Now that we got the big thing out of the way,
it was alright. I wasn't super into a lot of those matches. I was mostly here for Rey Mysterio at the beginning and Hulk Hogan at the end. And as bookends, they were fucking phenomenal. All the rest in the middle. Is that?
Yeah, I don't think this was admittedly for once, the way I cut up the show probably cut out more good than bad matches.
Well, the thing is too, with how we've tackled the WCW storyline, we are here for a very specific purpose. We are here to cover the NWO storyline. That has been the focal point of everything we've been covering. So that's what my mind stuck with. All the other storylines, I just don't really feel that much of a connection to, and I can't even say that necessarily as a fault of the matches for the most part. Some of them are legitimate.
Some of them are not good anyway.
But overall, just by virtue of what we do on this show, I'm here for NWO stuff. So all the rest, I was sitting there like, yeah, these are pretty good matches. I just feel absolutely no connection to them. And yeah, a lot of that I don't want to put at fault of WCW, but also I feel like in a way, they have a lot of stuff going on in the background that by virtue of the NWO stuff just is not nearly as compelling.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to say that any of the storylines that I described in the first half of this show were that compelling to me on watch, except maybe like the Horseman drama. Like I enjoyed a lot of the Horseman.
Yeah, we didn't
drama.
even cover that much of Horseman stuff.
Yeah, because we're blatantly avoiding one of the members. Yeah. But as someone who was watching it and then having to come up with how to talk about it on the show, like I enjoyed the Horseman stuff, but we're not really focusing on it because great guy.
That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. So I'm kind of stuck with like the dumb mid-card crap they're doing involving silver dollars and taped fists and idiots who putting people through tables.
Oh yeah. We're it's all top tier stuff.
Yeah. So let's go through the rest of the show. I'll go put Mysterio Psychosis on last. Just
Thank you.
As a courtesy so we can end on something more positive.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, so we start. The first thing I want to talk about then is John Tenta defeating Big Bubba in a Carson City silver dollar match.
That was interesting.
That was shit.
It was kind of dumb. I mean, the whole setup, as Austin and I kind of put it early on, it's an open air cage match.
Yeah, because it's not just a match where like silver dollars are legal or whatever. It's a match where
dollar socks.
Yeah, it is. They have a sock full of silver dollars, the one that ostensibly Big Bubba used to clock John Tenta in the face, and they hung it up on the largest pole they could find. And the objective of the match was the first objective before you beat somebody is to climb this pole and get the silver dollars.
Sure.
And it's like, first of all, the pole's too large. It's obscenely large. It's like 7 feet high.
And we have two big, thick boys.
We do.
Neither of whom are clearly physically capable of climbing that pole.
No, neither Bubba nor and they know that, and they know that too, because because who grabs the silver dollars but Jimmy Hart climbs it.
Oh my God, Jimmy. Which, hey, audience, we found out while watching this that the reason Jimmy Hart has such a prestigious career in wrestling is because he was friends with Jerry fucking Lawler in high school. God damn it.
Good times.
I'm so angry about that. You can't even imagine. Well, maybe longtime viewers can, but God damn. But yeah, because Jimmy Hart is Big Bubba's stooge. And so Bubba's doing a lot of shenanigans in this match. He medical tapes Tenta to the ropes. He tries to cut Tenta's hair again.
By the way, Tenta is down. His beard is shaved. He's down to the mustache and still half a head of hair.
I also just want to point out too that for some reason, what Big Bubba gets his hands on for attempting to cut Tenta's hair is medical scissors that you use to cut medical tape.
Yeah, he doesn't get like proper scissors for
I'm like, wait a minute, those are bent. What the? Yeah, it's medical. So of course Tenta's able to like grab him and do a reversal on him somehow and grabs it and is oh look, it's the perfect kind of scissors for cutting this tape off. Who would have thunk?
That's convenient.
That's convenient.
Yeah,
you didn't count on having a certified lifeguard in your audience who would know that shit. But no.
You were going off on this too, on this show, for doing that, and then Luger was not properly put on that gurney.
Why did they put it? Why did they have him in a manual head split the whole time? This creates more work. Why would you do that? Did headboards not exist in the 1990s? Are you what? That's a possible spinal injury, you dinks.
These are questions I can't answer because I'm afraid to tell you, David, that it's all fake. So they probably didn't think of it.
But no. I have to like point this out. And again, maybe backboards of the 90s were different. But the way you see backboards, if you go to any fucking pool, is you have the thing up on the wall and you see like the dumbass like plastic stuff sticking out of the top part. That is a headboard. You pull it out, you take it out, and you put it on either side of the person's head to keep it from jostling around because you don't want their head moving around in a potential spinal injury. So why in the hell did you not have those at the ready to put Lex Luger's head in a proper head? Like you're just gonna like risk his head moving around if you're moving him on the gurney while manually stabilizing him. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm afraid my answer is going to be the same as it was before that explanation.
Stupid. Very stupid. Anyway,
back to the slowest match I've seen.
Very few times I get to like pull out this expertise in civilian life. Okay, let me have this.
You can have it if you want.
Is podcasting civilian life? I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So John Tenta cuts himself free. And they keep going back and forth a little bit. And Big Bubba at one point kind of gets the upper hand, and while he's doing that, Jimmy Hart takes it upon himself to climb the pole, because I guess that's legal, because everything's legal here for some reason. But,
there's no real rules here.
John Tenta knocks down Bubba. And I will say, this was kind of a great moment. First of all, Jimmy Hart, surprisingly agile, able to like actually get himself up that pole. I was surprised at that. I thought they were going to do some like Mulan or Steve Rogers shitifying some way around
John Tenta attempts to do that.
He attempts to Steve Rogers the pole.
Yeah, he tries to unhook the pole, but Bubba stops him. But good old Jimmy. He grabs the silver dollar and he's like slowly sliding down in celebration because his back is turned to the match to do this. So he doesn't see that John Tenta has since gotten the upper hand. And so Tenta just like steals the silver dollars from him.
Pretty much.
Jimmy Hart doesn't even really do anything. He just like he's like, oh shit.
This is great. Yeah, it is kind of a great moment of like Hart's coming down the pole and Tenta's like, yeah, come to daddy.
Yeah, come on down.
Go on down. And Jimmy like Hart realizes and does give a pretty good face as Tenta like just grabs the pennies out from under him and just right in the jaw. Well, supposedly in the jaw to Big Bubba.
It is obvious at certain camera angles it did not hit the jaw even a little bit.
Yeah,
but he hits Bubba and he pins him and that's it. I'm pretty sure this is the end of this storyline.
I will say I do also appreciate that once after he pins Bubba, he like empties the sock onto Bubba's face and takes two of the silver dollars and places them on Bubba's eyes if he's about to get sent down the fucking river Styx. I'm like, you know what? I can appreciate the mythological imagery there.
Rest in peace, Big Bubba. He died of a shot from a silver a sock full of silver dollars.
Yeah, tell Karen and Hades we say hi. I appreciated that. That was a nice little thing. Cute, whatever.
Yeah. And then after that, you got DDP versus Jim Duggan.
Oh, yeah. This
fist match that featured surprisingly little taped fists.
Almost no taped fists until the very end. What?
Yeah. It's technically fine, except the whole thing is stupid because Jim Duggan is stupid.
Fuck Jim Duggan. Wait, look.
They chant USA at DDP, and DDP is from fucking New Jersey.
And his name is Diamond Dallas. Like, he's literally named for a fucking city in Texas, the Murica State. Like, what?
But he's facing America, man, so it doesn't matter what his nationality is.
You know...
USA!
As a proud leftist progressive, I really try to avoid the stereotype that, like, we hate America, but... God damn, it's so hard to like get on board with any of these America guys in any of these companies on any of these shows. Like, why? Why does it always have to be stupid? Please give me a America guy that I can actually like instead of these like dipshit chuds that are just there to like be big and beefy and, you know, probably say some racist shit on the side, but have it hand waved away because he's just palling around, brother. Like,
I am generally just at an eye roll level with America characters. Jim Duggan I actively dislike.
He just looks so unpleasant. He feels so unpleasant. He is unpleasant.
Just a big dopey ass idiot.
He's only a baby face because he doesn't have like feminine hands or something. That's the only reason he's facing this conflict, and it's the dumbest conflict. What is this non-conflict, and why do we have it on Bash at the Beach, our pay-per-view that has the biggest like moment in the entire history of this goddamn company?
I wish I could tell you why they. Oh, thank God that DDP wins because they have some recognition that DDP is a star in the making here. So he shouldn't be losing to Jim Duggan.
But
so
why did they make him the heel of this match in the first place if they're trying to star him up? Like, what? Oh my God, I don't understand. Look, I know it's like a lot later than we usually are with recording these things, so I'm probably just like tired and cranky, but like, dear fucking God at WCW, you did like, you had some cool stuff. Can you not spend the rest of your time looking like complete dumbasses, please?
Yeah, so
I don't want to say this is the reason your company fell apart, but Jesus H. Christ.
There's Yeah, it's not, but sometimes it feels like it is.
It feels indicative of an issue,
Yeah. So DDP wins completely clean, by the way. Doesn't cheat at all. He wins straight up completely. And how does old Jim Duggan respond? By taping up his stupid ass fist and punching and decking DDP in a loss because Jim Duggan, noted babyface, is a sore loser.
Jim Duggan, noted babyface, can suck my dick.
Noted, you again, as we mentioned it before, but it bears repeating that in a different company, you could have some real sly commentary on the fact that the most pro USA character on this show is an idiot and now is also a sore loser and a cheater, but we're not, it's not commentary.
Which is unfortunate because this is the early 90s where like this is one of those eras where making that specific observation would be especially pertinent.
This is this is like post Gulf War, pre 9/11. You probably could have gotten away with it.
Yeah.
That wasn't what WCW was doing.
God. Dude, people were like fired up for America post Gulf War. Like people were not happy if you said anti-America things post Gulf War. So like honestly, whether or not they could have gotten away with it, I feel like it's questionable, but it would have been a great time to make that point.
But that wasn't a point they were making. It's only something you notice later. But anyway, Duggan is the one standing tall, but doesn't matter. It's over. It's done with. Goodbye. So the Nasty Boys beat Public Enemy. We didn't watch, but in case you cared about that, Dean Malenko. We watched Dean Malenko and Disco Inferno for the Cruiserweight title.
This was like the most fine match there in that like it was happening. My eyes registered that it was happening. I did not retain a single goddamn thing.
See, my feeling about that's for the next one is to have that for me. But yeah, I thought it was good. It was good.
It was good.
Yeah, it was all about basically like Disco Inferno. It was all about making Disco Inferno look like a really tough, resilient wrestler in a way that he hasn't looked in his entire career because he's goofy disco dance guy.
Mm-hmm.
But like Malenko's having absolutely none of this stupid bullshit. He's just gonna kick this guy's ass.
Honestly, I'm kind of pulling for Disco Inferno. He seems fun. And Malenko seems like a dick.
He is kind of a dick. If you like, he's the Iceman, like stone faced guy is kind of a dick. Yes, but he Malenko does get the W. Weirdly, they don't really play into Disco Inferno's habit to dance in the middle of his matches and cost himself wins. Like he starts doing it and then he self-realizes what he's doing and stops.
Did this mark any sort of like significant turnaround for his character?
No, I'm pretty sure he's gonna go back to doing it next week.
Oh, well then why?
Yeah, I don't know, but he does get the win in a great effort, and la-di-da-di-da, Dean Malenko still the Cruiserweight champion. Hoorah. Then we got old Steve Mongo McMichael with his wife Deborah here, defeating Desperado Joe Gomez.
I will say, like, I only retained stuff from this one just because, like, the setup's so fucking weird.
Mm-hmm. But it's a as we mentioned before, as we mentioned on the show, the vaguely tan, vaguely muscular guy with long hair and black tights beat the vaguely tan, vaguely muscular guy with long hair and black tights. Yeah, they looked extremely similar.
Damn, I really have a discussion with whoever's doing costume design. Like, sure, they probably were going all in on designing the outsider costumes, but like, come on, guys, put a little more thought into it. Jesus.
Even they didn't care about Mongo McMichael versus
really
Joe
didn't give a
Gomez.
shit.
Like, the match is clunky, and nobody botches that badly, but it's like, it's between two guys who aren't that good at wrestling.
Yeah.
Trying to have a match.
It's deeply unremarkable, but I will say I retain stuff from this, like, not in a technical sense, but just in a sense of like how generic it was, just made it stand out, almost like a parody. It almost feels like a parody of, again, just vaguely muscular tan dude with long hair and black going at each other. It's so stupid. But yeah, it was all right. Whatever. All the matches on this show were like longer, which I get for a pay-per-view, but like, man, that really made some of them suffer.
Yeah, some of these did not need to be long. Then 2 matches we skipped. Ric Flair beat Conan for the U.S. title.
Really?
There were some cheating shenanigans.
Oh no.
As you'd expect, but yes, Ric Flair is now the U.S. champion.
Poor Conan.
And then the Giant and the Taskmaster beat Arn Anderson and Chris Benoit in the same name. So
good on multiple levels.
Now, to make sure we ended this on a positive note, let's cycle on back to the opening match. Rey Mysterio versus Psychosis.
Daddy! I love Rey Mysterio so much. Oh my god, this was such a good match. He was only 21 years old in this match, and dear lord, what a fucking dynamo for his age. Oh my god, he's amazing.
This is Rey Mysterio in his finest form.
Dude, Rey Mysterio at any point is Rey Mysterio in his finest form. Goddamn, fight me. I don't care how old. That man could be 80 years old and still pulling off 619s like they're nothing. I don't care. Oh my god, no, in all seriousness, oh my god, the athletic prowess he showed off in this was to die for. I never seen the Psychosis dude before, but I guess he and Rey had this like really intense rivalry going, and they played that well. Like, they just laid into each other, and it was super cool because the crowd was clearly like obviously new to all this. They had their like experienced cultural commentator on just to like explain all these like foreign concepts like Hurricane Ranas to people.
Whatever the hell that is. Yes, they bring in Mike Tenay, who made his name in wrestling initially as being this guy who knows all of the stuff about international wrestling that absolutely no one else in WCW had any goddamn clue about.
Yep.
So he was there to make them sound smart and educate the audience about like
pretty much
what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
And that does involve him being like, that's a Hurricane Rana, or that is a move called a senton. And it's like, that's very funny because in 2021, those are relatively common moves that most fans know, that pretty much any fan knows what that is.
But what's cool about that for me is like, the crowd is unfamiliar with these guys, these moves, a lot of what's going on here, and they eat it the hell up. They're super into it. I mean, it's clearly obviously not like Rey and Psychosis are like as over with the crowd as, a lot of the other people are, but like just by virtue of how good the match is, you can tell people are into it, which is really cool.
The crowd gets into it by the end. And
just like, they're such good athletes that the crowd can't help but get excited for this by the end.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, they do some insane shit.
Oh my god!
Some highlights include like Psychosis does a suicide dive to the outside and like spikes his own head on the guardrails.
God. He's just casually flipping half the time.
He is. He's like just doing backflips and
cartwheels.
Yeah. Okay. So he does the move where he does a cartwheel and then he like lands his back to Psychosis, then jumps backwards up onto Psychosis's shoulders to do a Hurricane Rana move.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
And I was like, what the fuck?
I forgot about that.
And it was all one fluid motion.
The fluidity with which he moves in this it's like Rey just transitions from move to move like it's nothing. He is such a natural. That's always true of him, but dear Lord, he makes all of this stuff look so easy because there is a fluidity to him. Nothing he does in ring is choppy. It's not particularly true today. It really wasn't true when he was 21 years old in WCW.
Then Rey Mysterio does the Hurricane Rana to Psychosis on the apron outside of the ring.
That was one of the big ones I remember. He hits Hurricane Rana to the outside of the ring. Doesn't end up spiking his head, but really,
Psychosis comes this close to hitting his head on the apron as he's coming down.
Oh my God! Psychosis gets rammed into like one of the side poles of the ring. Gets rammed into the gates between him and the crowd a couple times.
There is a move where like Rey sends him toppling into the pole because they have the pole for the pole match already set up. So like Psychosis goes face first into this giant thing at one point.
Oh my God.
It ends when Psychosis is going for this absolutely insane, gnarly looking move that I couldn't describe to you in any way. But it is so nuts that Mike Tenay is trying to explain what this move is. And it doesn't matter because Rey counters the move and he ends up and he pins Psychosis off of the counter. And that's how he wins the match.
Dude, okay. Rey, I think we talk a lot about like what a great flyer Rey is. I think it goes underappreciated how good of a tumbler Rey Mysterio is, which again his smallness helps with. But I love when he does the thing where he like is pinning someone with like him kind of sitting up, their back is on the ground, their feet are up in the air. I love when he attempts pins like that. It's such a cool visual. And here he kind of does a mid-air version of that where he just kind of like is able to get some momentum advantage on Psychosis and roll him over just a little bit extra, and just turn the move into his own and just get him flat on his back and he's down and out. Oh my God.
He gets the win. They play this like ridiculous stock music.
I'm still very terrible at like describing in evocative detail wrestling moves, but it just the reversal is something to behold, and it feels again so natural for me. It feels like an inevitable conclusion if you get Rey Mysterio in that point. Just the way he moves, it feels like, oh, of course, it had to be like that. There was no way Psychosis could have effectively landed that on him unless Rey was just falling asleep in the middle of the goddamn match.
Yeah. That was a very fun match, very exciting.
It was a great starting point. Rey and Psychosis fought valiantly, and it was exhilarating. Oh my God, I loved everything about that match. And it just reminded me why the hell Rey Mysterio was one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, if not my absolute favorite. Because even as a young boy, and there's just so many things. I love how vocal he is in ring. He yells so hard, and I just love this. This is before his time of like hopping off the top rope and like air bombing, like just pulling all of his limbs in and just kind of like air bombing you. It's so cool to see like where he started from. Rey Mysterio is a weirdly consistent through line for a lot of the stuff we follow. On this show, which I appreciate. More Rey all the time. This is now the Rey Mysterio show. Sorry. Look. But yeah, great match and a great way to start off. And I will take that as like the other bookend to the NWO officially coming together any day of the week.
Yeah, this show starts and ends incredibly, and the rest is whatever.
It's whatever.
Whatever. Who cares? No one cares about anything else that ever happens on this show anyway.
Yeah, I mean, when you have Hulk Hogan being the third man, that's kind of worth the price of admission alone. As much as I hate to say it, like, you have to cop to that. Like, even if the rest of the pay-per-view is shit, just for that moment, it's worth every penny, I imagine.
Yep. And that was the moment 25 years ago this year. 25 years ago, a couple of months ago.
Wow. That's so crazy.
Yep. And there's plenty of time to talk about everything that ever went wrong with the NWO. And there's a long list of that. But right now, what a hell of a story.
A hell of a story is right. They took a cultural consciousness and paid it off in a brilliantly subversive way. And despite every fault of WCW as a company, I will always, always, always give them credit for what is simply one of the most earth-shattering, mind-blowingly cool moments in the entirety of pro wrestling history.
And this was it that changed the course of the Monday Night War, so to speak. Is you look at before the New World Order, it was very back and forth between the two. And I'm pulling it up right now. But yeah, June 17th, 1996 was the thing, was the beginning of the 83 weeks of consecutive weeks where WCW beat WWF every single time. And like you look, and the NWO angle and all of it was the moment that pushed WCW to the top of the like that was it. And that is what sustained them for almost 2 years as the top dog in the wrestling world.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, NWO, from everything I've heard, kind of got ran into the ground, but can you blame them for what it brought to them?
Yeah, you can absolutely get why they were like, we're just going to keep running this train back.
Yep. It's one of those things. They set a dangerous precedent for themselves in some ways, but in that initial moment, you've made history. Congratulations, WCW. In about 5 minutes of television, you shot yourself up there with the greats, and that is something to be endlessly commended.
Yep. But for now, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about everything that went wrong. But for now, let's move on to next time. And next time on this show, we return to NXT 2015 as the Four Horsewomen era continues, this time to NXT TakeOver Rival. In what is, I'm very excited to revisit the match that we are building to on that one. I'll say it like that.
Oh,
I can't really say much more from because of the way
I'm excited
formatted.
Though, especially now that I've gotten to see two of the Horsewomen live. God, it's gonna be so cool to like see them back on screen after I've seen what they're like in person. That was exhilarating, and I'm sure it'll be just as cool to go back to their origin story. God, I love NXT.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, then, David, go ahead and hit our plugs.
Yes, sir. Alrighty. Friends, Romans, wrestling fans, Lehman, lend me your ears for I wish to plug. Thank you so much for joining. Fuck you, that was good. Thank you so much for joining us once again on the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. If you're a returning listener, watcher, what have you, thank you so much for your continued patronage. We are so happy that you continue to let us into your eardrums week after week after week. If you are a first-time joiner of us, thank you so much. We here at the Noobs and Knockouts podcast like to think that we cater to both noobs and knockouts alike. So whatever your wrestling fandom experience may be, we hope you feel welcome and accessible here. I think that's the correct. Anyway, if you would like to continue to keep joining us and you're not entirely sure how to do so, not to worry, my friends. I have you covered. First of all, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. We are the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, make sure it turns a nice solid little color so you get notifications every time we drop a new episode. Check out our playlist. Austin is kind enough to organize every arc we follow into distinct little playlists. So if you wanna follow along with specific storylines, you can check all of that out in a very organized fashion. It's awesome. Give us likes. Give us comments. Add us to your playlist. All that good stuff. We just love to have that sweet engagement. You can also find us on 3 of the best places to find your podcast if you want an auditory only experience. If you don't feel like looking at our fine, sexy, beautiful faces for the day, that's just fine. We won't fault you for it. You can find us on Spotify, on Apple, on Google. Give us ratings, give us downloads, all that good stuff to tell the algorithm, hey, these guys are pretty cool and they should continue to be cool, and more people should know that they're pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hello. So just check us out in all those places. We would love to have your patronage wherever you decide to give it to us. We also have plenty of social media to go around. Our big one, we are on Twitter. We are at Noobs and Knox Pod on Twitter. That's Noobs, the letter N, Knox Pod on Twitter. We post up memes. We interact with the wrestling fandom on a whole. We tweet our own observations about what's going on in the wide world of wrestling. We just love to engage with all that good stuff. Our big highlight of the Twitter, of course, is Austin Live tweets his wrestling viewing experiences. My friend, what is on the docket coming up?
Yes, of course. As always, every single week, Wednesday nights on TNT, All Elite Wrestling Dynamite from 8 o'clock. Live tweeting that every single week, as it is the show that I most consistently watch live, and so why not make some content out of it? In addition, as a follower of AEW and WWE and Impact Wrestling, be live tweeting their pay-per-views. And in fact, the day this episode drops will be All Out 2021 for AEW. Normally I would run down the card, but we're recording this really late, so I'm not doing that. We'll say that it is live pay-per-view event. It is a $50 pay-per-view. You can get it from traditional pay-per-views, Bleacher Report, or Fight TV. That's a lot. I accept that. But I will say money always well spent, at least in my opinion. Upcoming for WWE is WWE Extreme Rules. There will probably be Extreme Rules matches. Other than that, don't know. It's September 26th. That will be live on the Peacock app. So that Peacock TV thing, that plug I gave for them earlier. Fuck Peacock, but it's the only way to watch it live. What do you want me to say? Thanks, U.S. distribution contracts. That's where you're going to find WWE Extreme Rules, if that is what you are into. Then for Impact, we have Bound for Glory 2021. They're one of their biggest shows of the year, October 23rd. Of course, too early for there to be any real matches announced so far. It will be $40 on Fight TV and traditional pay-per-view. Again, bit of a steep asking price. I accept that, but I have always felt Impact's pay-per-views are worth the money. So if any of that interests you, please feel free to look into those shows and see if you want to check it out.
Absolutely. So be sure to follow along with Austin on all of that, whatever you decide to watch. His live tweeting is good shit TM. I hugely recommend checking it out. It's awesome. You can also find us on Gmail. We have a Gmail account. Isn't that nice? You can email us at noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. That's noobs, the word, and this time knockoutspod@gmail.com. Just say hi. Tell us what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show. How wonderful and beautiful and sexy the dulcet tones of our voices are. Things you want to see us do on the show, anything of that sort. Just say hi. We love people saying hi. We love to say hi back. It's just cool to hear from people. So hit us up there. And finally, you can find us on Patreon. We are also the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast on Patreon. $1 a month gets you early access to episodes and a shout out at the end of each episode.
See you guys next time.
Hasta luego.